Very good morning to everyone. Switch on the video. Please keep your videos on. Okay. Yes. Fast. Karthik, Irfan, Aditya, Anila. So, have you all chosen your balance sheet, the company? What is the progress of your project? Yes. Karthik, tell me about your group.
Ma'am, I didn't start, ma'am.
You started only. Okay. Will you be able to tell me by Thursday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Anila?
Ma'am, we are still discussing.
Sorry? Okay. And Aparna? How about yours?
Ma'am, I'll inform by Thursday.
Yes, enough. Okay. So that's about your project. Okay. Now let's continue with accounting ratios. Okay, accounting ratios, and we were with profitability ratios according to the new syllabus. As per your term 1 revised syllabus, we need to learn only this 4 types of profitability ratios: gross profit ratio, net profit ratio, operating profit ratio, and the last one, return on investment ratio. Okay. Even though you find 10 to 12 ratios in your textbook, all that is not required. According to the term 1 revised syllabus, you need to learn only this 5 ratios. Okay. So let us continue with accounting ratios, profitability ratios. So we discussed gross profit ratio, gross profit divided by net sales into 100. Next one was net profit ratio, and again net profit by net sales into 100. And coming to the operating profit ratio, operating profit by net sales into 100. Now moving to the next one, that is return on investment ratio. Return on investment ratio. Okay. Return on investment. Aren't you all familiar with this term? Return on investment? Yes or no? Yes, in banking, we have come across this term. Return on investment. You make an investment in the business or in any other securities. What is the return you get out of that investment? And here we are discussing about the owner. Okay. Whatever investments he has made in his business. Okay. Whether he is getting the return efficiently by making use of this investments effectively, efficiently. That is what we are going to find out from this ratio. Return on investment ratio. He has invested money in the business. He is taking so much of risk, so much of efforts are put in by the owner. And how is the result relating to all these factors? So the ratio establishes the relation between the return and investment. Investment, the other term is capital employed. Again, the familiar term, capital employed. So capital employed means total amount of investment made into the business. Okay. And coming to the formula, it is net profit before interest, tax, dividend divided by capital employed into 100. So what is the net profit here? The numerator should be the net profit before charging or before providing interest, tax, and dividend. And suppose in the question, you are given the net profit after charging interest, tax, and dividend. What will you do? You will add back Okay, add back all these, whatever is given, if it is interest or dividend or whatever, dividend, interest, tax. Okay, so you will add back it because we need the numerator as net profit before interest, tax and dividend. So that is the point to be kept in mind here. Okay, and suppose only net profit, simply net profit is given, no other information provided, whether it is before charging or after charging interest, dividend, tax, then you may take it as it is, since you are not given, not provided any other information. So simply if net profit is given, then you can take that figure itself as the numerator. Okay. Okay, so that is about return on investment. And here also we don't have a standard ratio or ideal ratio is not there. Higher is a better. That is a way we consider. Higher, what higher the ratio, better is it is for the firm. And you can see it is into 100. That means what? It is expressed as percentage. So return on investment is expressed as percentage. So that is all about the return on investment. Now let us see capital employed. So I told you it is the total amount of investment made into the business. And it doesn't mean it is only the capital investment. No, it also includes the long-term liabilities, the loans taken from the financial institution, long-term borrowings. All that are considered as capital employed. Okay, so this is a way we calculate capital employed. And there are two approaches. Either we can calculate it based on the items on the liability side of the balance sheet, liability side approach, as well as based on the items given on the asset side. Okay, asset side approach. So based on both these approaches, according to the given information in the text, in the question, you may calculate capital employed. If it is based on liability side, then the formula to calculate capital employed is equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus plus long-term liabilities minus fictitious assets, also minus non-operating assets. Okay, this is the way to calculate it from the liability side. And again, I'm repeating, this is a standard formulas given to you. It is not necessary that all these will be there in the question. Okay, but this is the standard formula. Coming to capital employed, I mean the asset side capital employed calculation. It is net fixed assets. Net fixed assets means fixed asset minus depreciation. That is how we get net fixed assets. Net fixed assets means fixed assets minus depreciation. Then net fixed assets plus working capital. That is how we calculate capital employed. Net fixed asset plus working capital will give you the capital employed. So what is working capital? It is current asset minus current liabilities. WC. Working capital can be calculated using current assets minus current liabilities. Okay. So this is all about capital employed. Good morning, Sharat. Switch on the video. Okay, so let's see a problem now. Return on investment. How to find out? The details given to you are share capital is given 1,60,000. Reserves and surplus is given. Loan at 15% interest. So this is the loan amount 2 lakh. So how to find interest? It is 2 lakh into 15 by 100. Okay. So this is the loan amount, not the interest. Loan at 15% interest, it is 2 lakh. Sales is given. Tax paid is given. Profit after interest and tax is given to you. It is profit after interest and tax. So how to find out ROI, return on investment? So what is the numerator? It is net profit before interest and tax and also dividend. That is the way we need the numerator. But here the profit, it is after interest and tax. So it is 80,000. So how to get the numerator? We have to add back the tax. How much is that? 40,000. It is added back. And also the interest that should be added back. 2 lakh into 15 by 100. How much? It is 30,000. So this is the way we find out the numerator. 1,50,000. Yes. So this is the numerator. And coming to capital employed. So from the question, you understand that it is the liability side items given to you. Share capital, reserves and surplus, loan, nothing related to current asset and current liability. So we may calculate the capital employed based on the liability side approach. Yes. So the denominator will be share capital 1,60,000 plus 1,60,000 plus, then what else? Reserves and surplus you have 60,000, which is again a liability side item. Then loan, the long-term loans, 2 lakhs. This is the way we find out the denominator. So it becomes 4,20,000. Okay. So ROI is equal to 1,50,000 divided by 4,20,000 into 100. Then only we get it as a percentage form. Okay. So how do you interpret this? If we consider as the capital employed 100%, okay, capital employed is 100%, then return on investment is 36%. For the 100% capital employed, the return we received is 36%. So that means 36% is the total net profit generated using this capital employed. When 100 rupee, you can let me take it as a rupee. If 100 rupee capital is used, for that 36 is the rupee. 36 rupees is the net profit received. Total net profit generated by making use of this capital employed. Okay. So that is all about ratios. By now, we have completed all the ratios, accounting ratios are all over. I'm reminding you, prepare a mind map, a concept map based on the classification types of ratios and the sub ratios coming inside it. I hope you will do it. Okay. Then next, we will discuss about the limitations of accounting ratios. Limitations. I want you to write down a few limitations from all these, from whatever we have discussed. Try. I'll give you 2 minutes time. Think about the limitations. What could be the limitations? So as we know, these ratios are all, it is all man-made. We have created it for our own convenience. Am I right? So definitely there could be some limitations also. What could be the limitations? It is ratios. So what is ratios? What are we doing here? We are comparing financial items, financial figures, either from the profit and loss account or balance sheet. So the relationship between two financial figures are being computed. That is accounting ratio. So what could be the limitations? Yes, are you ready with your points? Let me see. Are you all writing your points? Try, think. What could be the limitations? The limitations that come to your mind after doing all these, after computing all these ratios. What do you feel like is the limitation? Problems. Yes, Aparna, have you got any points?
Ma'am, qualitative data are not considered.
Very good. Yes. Only quantitative concepts are considered here when computing the ratios. There are many other aspects that are being ignored. The qualitative aspects. Yes, the people working there, the efficient, educated, trained employees are working there. Nothing is taken into consideration about their qualitative features. And the business will be employing technology, the latest technologies, the kind of technologies, the best technology will be used by them. But that is nowhere mentioned. So these all accounts to the efficiency and performance of the businesses, but they are all ignored. Okay. And also you might have noticed the goodwill aspect is till now, whatever ratios we discussed, is anywhere it is mentioned about the goodwill. And what is goodwill? It is a reputation, the good name of the business. Nowhere it is mentioned. Okay, very good. That's the best point. Main point, only the quantitative concepts or aspects are considered. Qualitative are ignored. Okay. Any other points? Please try. Yes, Anju, what operating ratio? What were you trying to say? I saw the chat in the chat box. Yes, anything else? Please switch on the videos, everybody. Sharat, Shubham, Tomlin. Yes, Karthik, any points from your part?
I couldn't find any, ma'am.
It's okay. Okay. Anjo, you want to say anything?
No, ma'am.
No. See, let me tell you a trick. If you don't get anything, no, like nothing is coming to your mind, you can just write it is time consuming. It is not convenient. Okay. During examination, if you don't find any answers, like nothing is coming to your mind. So never ever, now you have MCQ, I admit that. But future also, if you have a descriptive type questions, never ignore any questions. Okay, don't leave any questions. At least write such points. It is time consuming. Then what else? Non-economical. It is expensive. You may add such points. Okay. Anyways, coming back to the limitations of accounting ratios. Yes, Anto, you don't have. Anila, you want to try?
No, ma'am.
No. Irfan, do you have any points? Yes, Hannah?
No.
Ah. Yes, Hannah, do you have any points with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, it's okay. So I think we'll move on to the slide. The limitations of accounting ratios. And let me tell you the point that Aparna mentioned. The qualitative aspects are ignored and the quantitative aspects are only considered. Actually, that itself is a major limitation of accountancy. Accounting. Okay. The accountancy, as you know, nowhere we take this qualitative aspects. So that itself is a major limitation of accounting as a whole also. Okay. Now let's see the limitations of accounting ratio. Ignores the qualitative aspect, the first point. Next one is ignores price level changes. See, we will be finding out the accounting ratios based on the current year as well as the previous year or the year before that. All these will be calculated and comparisons will be made. We will compare. See, in 2019, the return on investment was 50%. In 2020, it is only a 40%, and 21, it is only a 45%. Likewise, we will be comparing the financial performance, financial data. But the reason why have this happened or that is not considered regarding the price level changes. We are not bringing the concepts such as inflation. Okay, such economic aspects are not brought into the analysis. We are only going through the items appearing on the balance sheet as well as the profit and loss account. What is the reason for this data, the ratio variations? There are plenty of reasons like this. Economic aspects like inflation, such the demand and supply, all those market conditions are completely ignored. That is, ignores price level changes. Now, the next point, that is, no single concept. As you have seen, we have plenty of ratios. There are so many ratios. We have only studied almost 15-20 ratios now altogether. Okay, but accounting ratios, we have more than that. So here, we don't have a single concept, it says. See, coming to, let us take the example of profitability ratios. Profitability ratio, we don't have an idea whether it is net profit ratio, gross profit ratio. We have several subdivisions inside that. So sometimes if the profitability ratio is this much, if that is the information given to the user, he doesn't know what kind of ratio are they talking about. Are you talking about the gross profit? Are you talking about the net profit? Or it is after dividend, tax, interest, or is it before? So all such confusions may arise. So that's why it is said there is no single concept. At least if you have some criteria, if that is there, okay. So just imagine a situation where you are given question papers. One of you is writing out of 50. Other one is writing out of 30. Another person writing out of 100. And in the mark list, only the marks are written. Anila getting 25. Karthik getting 50 or 18. Maybe it might be out of 20. 18 out of 20. So when only the marks are given, how to analyze? How do the user, someone who's going through this data, know what is this? Okay, so that is this. No single criteria. No single criteria is used to measure the concept. And the last point, misleading results if based on incorrect accounting data. See, we know that these ratios, it is computed based on the balance sheet, profit and loss account, the financial statements. Who is preparing all these? The accountants of the company. Accountants, they are the ones who prepare it. We are all human. Mistakes might happen from our side. Errors will take place. So if the financial data is not correct, if it is incorrect, and definitely it will affect the ratio computations also. Okay. So that is misleading results. If the calculations go wrong, the calculation might go wrong because of the inaccurate data given to you in the financial statements. So that will affect the ratio analysis and you will not get a true picture of the company, the business analysis. So that is all about limitations of accounting ratio. Okay, ignores qualitative aspect. That is the most important one. Keep it in your mind. That is the limitation of accountancy, accounting as a whole. Ignores price level changes, the inflation, deflation, the demand and supply, the factors, economic factors are not considered. No single concept, no single criteria, misleading results. Okay. So let me explain the operating profit ratio, which is one among the profitability ratio. So what is operating profit? Operating profit means the net results of the operations. Okay, the net results of the operation. And we use it to judge the overall efficiency of the business, operating profit, operations. Okay, operations of the business. That is the main activity, operations, operating profit ratio. So how to find out this? It is operating profit divided by net sales into 100. Okay, net sales, you know, what is net sales? It is always the sales minus sales returns. That will give you the net sales. Coming to the numerator, operating profit. Okay, operating profit is equal to gross profit. Okay, gross profit minus administration expenses and selling and distribution expenses. Gross profit minus administration expenses and also selling and distribution expenses. Selling and distribution expenses. So we'll add this administration expense and selling and distribution expense together. Then we will deduct it from the gross profit. Here also, you don't have a standard ratio. Higher the ratio, it is better for the firm. Okay. Okay, now let's see the problem. Operating profit ratio. Sales is given to you. Gross profit is there. Administration expense is there. Selling and distribution expense is there. And let me tell you, there will be many other items given to you, okay? That doesn't mean you should include all that in your answer. They are given just to mislead you. So here loss by fire is given. Okay, loss by fire. Coming to the operating profit ratio. How to calculate it? Net operating profit ratio. Net operating profit divided by net sales into 100. Okay. See, here you can find the term sales. Only sales is given. Whether it is net sales or gross sales, nothing is mentioned. If such nothing is specified, then that sales is taken as the net sales. Okay. Net sales. Now, as it is, again, I'm telling you, as it is your MCQ, you don't have to bother about this note making and all. If it were description, you could give a note. Since no information is given, the sales data given in the question is considered as net sales. So keep in mind all these instructions. It will be beneficial for you in your future higher studies. So wherever you find some confusion in the question, if you doubt, the safer side is to give a note. Okay, so net operating profit. Net operating profit, it is gross profit minus administration expense as well as the selling and distribution expense. So 1,20,000 is the gross profit minus 35,000 plus 25,000, sell administration expense and selling and distribution. It is 60,000 divided by net sales, 3 lakhs into 100. Now, let me tell you a point. See, the operating profit and the net profit, okay? Net profit, both has got a direct relationship. If operating profit is increasing, net profit will also increase. Make a note of it, please. Operating profit is increasing. Simultaneously, net profit will also increase. Okay. So that is all about the ratios. We have successfully completed this chapter. Okay. Now in the next hour, we'll solve the numerical questions. So I want all of you to quickly go through all the ratios. Okay. Almost up to question number 7, we have solved question number 7 up to the numerical question up to 7. So today we will be solving the rest of the questions. Okay. So I stop with this now. In the next hour, we'll continue with the accounting ratio, the numerical questions. So please quickly revise all the ratios. Okay. We'll take 5 minutes break.